You guys need this? Can anybody not hear? Do you want me to use the microphone? I sound like an acid robot. No. Thank you. I'm joking. Okay, so today we're continuing the Ardaas course. Well, last week what were we talking about in the Ardaas last week? Anybody help me out? What was the topic? What were we talking about? Who was at the Ardaas course last week? There wasn't one. The last time we were here, what were we talking about? The Shaheeds of the Panth. We were going through the Shaheeds, right? Jinnah Singha, Singh and Nitnem, Head, Sislite, Band Katai, hai na? Do you want to put that screen on, bruv? Do you want to put the screen on? Haji? Oh, just put it on there then. I thought you could do it on both. Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realise that. I thought we could do both. I'm so sorry. Forgive me. So the topic that we're going to be talking about today is Kopurion Lahaya. You've heard this in the Ardaas. We say these words as part of the Ardaas, right? And when the Ardaas is being said, one of the older brothers said to me once, he goes, when we at each stage when we say Bolo Ji, WhyGuru, that if you listen out, that when we're going through the Ardaas, when we get to the, shall we say, the second section after Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Chandi Diwar, when we get to that place, Jinnah Singha, Singh and Ninatarma Head Sistite, Band Katai, Kopuri on Hayachar Khari and Chare. When we get to that place, okay, this is going to be interesting. You really haven't got my back today, bruv. You got no screen. I'm sorry, I'm going to come for you, bruv. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to leave and go back to. I'm not going to deal with this. All right. Am I right? Back to normal? Can you guys hear me? Am I better off without this? This is silly, isn't it? Huh? So what should I do? I'm going to let you sort that out. I'm going to just carry on, yeah? So, do you want to turn it around for the Sangha that might want to look at it, maybe, on that? Is there a way we can prop that up? So Maharaj is saying to us, when we have that part of the Ardaas, we always get the greatest cry, because it's that evocation of those that have made sacrifices that we can be here. And so, Hanji, next slide then, bruv. I need to about see it slightly, bruv. So today we're doing, next slide. So, Kopurion Lahaya, does anybody know what this means? Next slide. Well, by the end of this vichar, this journey that we're going to go through today, not only are we going to know what it means, we're going to see just how this has been played out. There was a great Gursikh, and their name was Bhai Taru Singh. 25 years they walked upon this earth, but because of the way that they walked upon this earth, we will hear about them forevermore. There won't be a time when they're not referred to, remembered, in the Darbar of the Guru at least 3 times every single day. We remember Bhai Taru Singh Ji and those that walked upon their likeness. Who was Bhai Taru Singh? They came to this earth in Pend Bahula in 1720. Their father, Bhai Jodh Singh, their mother, Bibi Darshan Kaur, their sister, Bibi Tar Kaur. Their father, incidentally, were a Shaheed. They were fighting and they became Shaheed around the times of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they gave the Guru Gaddi only a few weeks ago. We celebrated the Sanpurna Divas of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. They gave the Guru Gaddi to Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj in 1708. So this is the period of time. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is born into that time just after Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj have themselves turned to the Granth and given the instructions that we are all forevermore to bow before Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. And we're going to go straight now with our minds into the house of Bhai Taru Singh Ji. They're 5 years old. And Ratan Singh Pangu in Panth Prakash, they record our itihas in such a way that it really takes us there. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is 5 years old at this time. Really listen to this. We're going to, as in many places of Sikhi, we're going to go in a chakkar, we're going to go in a circle, we're going to finish with this same part of our itihas. So don't just forget this is the beginning. We're going to finish here as well. I'll give you that. Bhai Taru Singh ji is having his kesh combed by their mother. Bibi Darshan Kaur is combing their kesh. And Bhai Taru Singh is saying to their mother, they're saying, Mataji, what is all this noise that I'm hearing? All of this commotion that we're hearing coming out of Delhi. And Bibi Darshan Kaur, who would wake every morning and do Asa Divar, that was the kind of mother that she was. We get these glimpses of an understanding of who she was. She says to their son, she says, the noise that you're hearing, the commotion that is being made noticeable to you and all your friends that you're hearing, is the Shahidi of Bhai Mani Singh. Bhai Mani Singh, who was the Jathadar of the Akal Takht, who was, if we say Jivan Mukh, they were the servant, they were the scribe, the Lakhari of Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, under the tutelage, under the instruction of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. They've just become Shaheed for not converting into Islam. They've been chopped into 72 pieces in an attempt to try and scare those that would seek to follow the path of the Guru. And so knowledge of his Shahidi is being spread across the Panth, but also across those that would see to end the Panth as a way of a warning. So Bhai Mani Singh Ji, from a very young age, what can we take from this? Ratan Singh Pangu is educating us that in the life of Bhai Taru Singh, from the youngest of ages, they are hearing their own itihas. They are hearing their own history. These teachings are being invoked in the heart of Bhai Taru Singh Ji. And Bhai Taru Singh Ji, what are they thinking when they're hearing about Bhai Mani Singh? What thoughts would be going through their mind as they're being praised for the strength and the courage? What would any young boy do when they're watching those that we now seek to indoctrinate our children with, like, praise towards? They go, I want to be Iron Man. I want to be Captain America. Because we're choosing these as our heroes, right? And the nature of a child, and it's the biology really of a child to fall in complete adulation to those that we're taught to love. A child doesn't know anything but love. The child naturally will love. Who that child loves is our choice. What we put before that child as the source of affection, inspiration, and adulation, that's the choice. We can't teach the child to love. That's the nature of a child. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is given the truth of what it means to be the form of courage. They've given the truth of what it means to be a perfect Gurmukh. And so they fall in love with Bhai Mani Singh Ji Shahidi. And so in their mind at 5 years old, they're being taught of the Shahidi, of the courage, of the love, of the sacrifice of those that would spill their own blood, that we should be free from the choices that were being inflicted upon them. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is teaching us what it means, what the effect of what it means to be given our itihas. So I say these words, double down with what I said at the beginning, that we're not here to learn education for education's sake. This education is to help us form our own goals, our own mindsets as to who we're going to place as our guardians, who we're going to place as our future projections, who is our inspiration, who do you want to be, in other words. It's really important that we look at it this way. And I'll repeat the point. We don't let school, don't let the West, don't let others who seek to redirect you get in the way of your true education. Only the Guru's Shabad and the Guru's Itihas, through the blessings of the Guru and the Sangat and the Gurmukhs, that should be the place that we come to, open-hearted, and say, give me that direction. So Bhai Taru Singh Ji at 5 years old is having his gears combed. What other teaching is this? In the Retanam of Bhai Chopar Singh, we're taught that we should comb our gears twice a day. And I'll be very honest with you, this is one of the very few things, this is probably one of my favorite things about Gurmat, that we should comb our gears twice a day. What is in this blessing? This blessing is that we are remembering every single day our gears. And not just that, but we have those 2 minutes when you're combing. It's very hard to comb your gears. You can do most things 2 times. You can watch your phone and brush your teeth. You can make something on the kitchen stove while you're talking to somebody else. But when you're combing your gears, you'll find something very interesting. While you're combing your gears, you can do nothing really. You can't do nothing else. It's a very intimate act that really is one of the very few things. It's a very blissful thing. And the simplicity of it, within the simplicity of it, is lost its brilliance and beauty. Maharaj has stolen away 2 or 3 minutes in the morning and 2 or 3 minutes in the evening. They've stolen them away from the world and they've given them to you and said, yo, comb your gears twice a day. And this isn't for you to show regard to your gears. It's your gears giving you a gift to spend 2 or 3 minutes with yourself with a bit of inward reflection. But yo, what have I done today? What am I going to do today? You wake up in the morning, you might go to the bathroom, you might brush your teeth, and then you comb your gears. Bi ae sarira meriya, is jag mein aaye kya tud karam kamaya. I've come into this body, I've come into this world, what am I going to do? Says Guru Ardaas Maharaj, right? Straight after that, before you get stolen away into the world, Guru Ardaas, they pull you back, they go, no, 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 ye karam kamaya, tud sarira, jatu jag mein aya. It's the only time in Gurbani that I'm aware of where Guru Maharaj says the same thing twice. So you just get caught in that moment. So there's a chance for us to do that ardas within our own minds. I'm starting this day, I'm coping these makis. Maharaj, what am I supposed to do today? What have I got to look out for in your graces? And I think that's kind of cool. That Guru Sahib's given us that time. And the time we have no time, that Maharaj has given us this Retanama, we should keep our duty to ourselves. Keep those 2 minutes. If we're not doing it already, put your hands up if you come here kesh twice a day at the moment. Put your hands up if you come here kesh twice a day, but you haven't had that reflection towards what gift it is before. See, this is the beauty of the things that we have. They're like diamonds in the rough. You learn what you could do, and it's like, oh my God, I can't wait to come here kesh tonight. Who's looking forward to coming there kesh tonight? No elbows, people. So you see, these gifts will keep giving if we just come and we keep learning things that we think we know, and then we realize we don't know anything. Amandeep Singh, I'm talking just to myself here. So, Guru Maharaj is, Bhai Taru Singh is combing their kesh, and they're hearing about this. What was the time like, Hanji? So, the times of Bhai Taru Singh Ji, next slide, was a very, very difficult time. Hanji, next one. It was a time when being Sikhi essentially was illegal. The Mughals were bent upon removing these warriors that were standing in the way of their looting and their barbarism. The Mughals were hell-bent on converting the whole of Hindustan under the banner of Islam. We would learn later, Aurangzeb would write that I won't rest until the whole of Hindustan is converted under the banner of Islam. We're in a very dark time. There was actually a price on the heads of Sikh. That if you would bring the kesh of Sikh, you would get 50 rupees. 50 rupees was a lot of money back then. That if you bought some hair of a Sikh that you'd obviously cut from their head, you'd get given a blanket. That if you bought information about a Sikh's whereabouts, that you'd be given 10 rupees. And if you were given shelter to a Sikh, on the flip side, if you were to help Sikhs, then you'd be sentenced to death. This was our history recorded quite contemporaneously. This is not written years after the event. Ratan Singh Pangu would write their Pant Prakash quite close. They were related by one generation to Bhai Taru Singh Ji, who we're going to hear about, who was a contemporary. They were living at the same time as Bhai Taru Singh Ji. So we are very blessed in our itihas. It's recorded at the time. No other Dharam has recorded their itihas in the way that we have at the time in which it was undertaken. So Bhai Taru Singh Ji is living at this time where being a Sikh is to mean to court death. That if anybody would catch them, that in this way you would suffer death. So where were the Singhs living? The Singhs that would challenge the Mughals, they were living in the jungles. They were living off the bark of trees. They were malnourished, but rather than giving up their dharam, they were living in, like, shall we say, quite dire circumstances, Hanji. And go back one slide, actually, brother. We'll come back to that in a second. So what would happen is that Bhai Taru Singh Ji, what they would do is they would do kheti, they were working in the farms. And then what they would do is they would earn their income, they would pay their taxes dutifully. And whatever was left of their earnings, they would use that money to buy supplies that they could make food in their kitchens, that they could then go and distribute to the Singhs in the jungles. They would make all the langar, and they would keep only the smallest portion, maybe one prashadda, the way it's described in our itihas, that they would keep one prashadda for themselves, their sister, Bibi Tarkor, Bibi Darshan Kaur. They would eat just one prashadda, and the rest they would go and they would just serve all of the Singhs in the jungles. That's langar seva. They would live for the Singhs. Their sister lovingly would make their brother chola, a beautiful chola. But Bhai Taru Singh Ji would take the new chola off that their sister had given to them. They would wrap that up and keep it all nice and neat and clean. They'd put their old chola back on, and they would go into the jungles, perchance the Singhs that were living in tattered clothes, that they would go and give them to their brothers. They would go and give that to their brothers. We all, I'm not questioning anybody's intentions, we have bags of charity stuff which we give our old clothes. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but just to give it a context in current times. How many of us are giving our new clothes to those that are in need? I'm not saying that you've got to go shopping and give out what you've bought. What I'm trying to say is I'm trying to give us an understanding, not of what we are, but of Bhai Taru Singh Ji is. That sort is that these are the people that I live for. I live to serve the Khalsa. And that's why Bhai Taru Singh ji will forever live in the heart of the Khalsa now. We're here, 2024, and we will never forget Bhai Taru Singh ji. In 10 years, we will come back and this same itihas will be being taught by, hopefully, my younger brothers and sisters that are sitting before me. Bhai Taru Singh ji is doing this, and Zakaria Khan, who's the governor, who's hell-bent upon striking fear into those that would help the Sikh. They're saying, who are these Sikh that keep surviving? They don't work, they don't have any people helping them. And he's in his court one day and he's lamenting about the fact that he's not managed to crush the Khalsa. He's lamenting about the fact that there are these Sikh that seem to be avoiding his wrath. And there's one in their company, an informant. His name's Harpagata Naranjariya. And he has a nickname in the Panth, but I can't say it in the Guru's Darbar. But it rhymes with his name. And they say to him, Harpagat Naranjariya, he says to Zakaria Khan, but I know how it is that these Gurmukhs are getting by. There's one whose kitchen cooks, but not for his family. He makes much more. And he goes and he distributes towards those that are in need, who are living in the jungles. His name is Taru Singh, and he lives in Pind Bahulla. So what happens is that Zakaria Khan, he sends soldiers to go and arrest Bhai Taru Singh ji. Bhai Taru Singh ji is now, unbeknownst to this, soldiers are going to come to his house in Pind Bahulla. So what happens is Bhai Taru Singh ji, one day, they're out in the jungles and they're serving the Singhs prashad. They've not eaten for 6 days and 7 nights at this time, the way that's written in our itihas. 6 days and 7 nights they've not eaten any food. And Bhai Taru Singh ji is taking the prashad out and the sabjiya, and they're about to vartar to the Singhs. And one Gursikh who's the leader of that group, his name is Bhai Taru Singh. Bhai Taru Singh ji says to Bhai Taru Singh, goes, you look really sad today. Why is it that you look so sad? Normally you're quite jardigala, you're looking quite in good spirits. Why is it that you look so sad as we are receiving your prashad? Bhai Taru Singh says, look, I don't want to burden you with what it is on my mind. And Bhai Taru Singh ji, who's in charge of that group of Gursikhs, goes, no, he presses, he goes, tell me what it is that you're suffering, what is it you're sad about? And Bhai Taru Singh ji says, look, out in the world, the Moguls are invading, they're going into villages, and they're taking the daughters of our Hindu families, of our Hindu parivar, and they're taking them and they're chaining them up, and they're taking them back to sell them as slaves. And nobody will answer their call. The way that it's written in our itihas is that those sisters who were being stolen away, they would have their hair tied to the next sister, so that when they would pull away, it would pull that person's hair. And they were slapped and they were beaten, but they wouldn't. And in this way, they were treated like cattle. And they would be crying out to the heavens, will anybody answer the call? Will anybody answer the call? And Bhai Taru Singh ji is speaking to the Singhs, and he says to Bhai Taru Singh ji, he goes, Jatadar Sahib, he goes, the situation out there is so dark. The situation out there is so dark, but I don't know what to speak of. And the way that it's written in our history, Sadh Sangat ji, the Gursikhs have not eaten prashad there for 6 days. They've not eaten for 6 days or 7 nights. They get the prashad in their hand, they're about to eat the prashad, and they look at the prashad, and they look back at Bhai Taru Singh ji that has just brought this news, and they pass the prashad back. And they say to Taru Singh, they say, Taru Singh, you hold on to these prashad. We can't eat these prashad while such injustice is being met out in our locality. Because if it's written for us to be successful in our morcha, we'll come back and eat this prashad. And so Bhai Taru Singh ji, they would go and they would lead a convoy of Singhs, and they would go and they would smash those barricades. Many times this would happen. Baba Deep Singh ji again, many times they would go and smash these barricades. They would spill much blood. They would splatter blood across all of those imperial roads, and they would take those back that were taken as slaves to be sold in Afghanistan as slaves. They would take them back one by one, and they would return those sisters to the Hindu parivar. And so Zakaria Khan, when he hears this, he's completely enraged that Mehtab Singh, who is Mehtab Singh? We'll come on to who Bhai Mehtab Singh ji is in a second. They go, who is this Taru Singh that is feeding oxygen into these people?
And so they've with renewed vigor and wrath, knowing from Harpagat and the Ranjariya who this person is, they send soldiers to go and arrest Bhai Taru Singh ji. When the soldiers reach Bhai Taru Singh ji's house, Bhai Taru Singh ji's out in the field, they're working the fields. Bibi Darshan Kaur is there to receive them, and they not to lose the daya that they have in their heart, because they have no vair with anybody. They sit the soldiers down and they start vartaying prashad. They say, you've come under orders, but you still must be hungry, and they start giving them food. And the soldiers are so embarrassed. They're so full of like embarrassment that they've been sent to arrest Bhai Taru Singh ji. But at the same time, they're under these orders to arrest Bhai Taru Singh ji and the whole family. They now agree that they're going to leave the family alone. They just say, where is Bhai Taru Singh ji? A ruckus is about to kick off because the villagers have fallen so in love with Bhai Taru Singh ji. There were Hindus and Muslims in the village. They say to the soldiers, you can't take Bhai Taru Singh ji's family, or you can't touch Bhai Taru Singh. Bhai Taru Singh ji's family is about to be arrested for this, and there's about to be a big ruckus between the villagers, and then Bhai Taru Singh ji returns. And he stops all of this from occurring. And he says to the villagers, he goes, if you want to do seva, then do me this one justice. I kept my stove hot for the Gursikhs that were hungry in the jungles. If you want to serve me, keep your stoves hot. Start cooking food in your kitchens. That would be a service, that you take up my place and you serve those that are in need. Hanji, next slide. What was Bhai Taru Singh ji's Ardaas? This is one of my favorite Pankatiya. Maharaj says, and this goes to for me, this goes to the core of what the Khalsa Panth is, and also what we should aspire to be. Maharaj says, Guru Govinda Kripa Kari, Rakhiya Mera Pai, Rakhiya Mera Pai. Maharaj says, Guru Govinda Kripa Kari, Rakhiya Mera Pai. Listen very carefully, because sometimes the beauty of Sikhi is lost in so much simplicity. We're looking for complicated things, we lose the beauty of something so powerful. This is, for me, the foundation of what it means to be a Khalsa. We come to the Guru Card with our Ardasa, and we should. We come to the Guru Card to make Guru Sahib the person who listens to our prayers for our GCSEs, our A-levels, our future success in whatever way that might be, relationship-wise, financially, whatever it is we're looking to achieve. But what's the Guru's Ardaas? They say, Kirpa Kari, a great blessing has been bestowed upon me. A great prayer of mine has been answered. What is that? Bi Rakhiya Mera Pai, you fulfilled my brother's Ardaas. You've got my man's back. You've taken care of my people. You stood toe to toe with my friend and you made sure that he was victorious. Bhai Taru Singh ji speaking to the villagers, they're speaking to their mother and their sister, and they say, Guru Govind Kripa Kari, do me a favor. You want to fulfill my Ardaas? You want to look after my interests? Be Rakhiya Mera Pai. Have my brothers in your heart. They're still hungry. You're worried about me. They ain't eating in 6 days and 7 nights. Sadh Sangat ji, what educate? Let's have a look real now. When we come to the Guru Kar, we come here together, not just here, but across the country, across the world perhaps, corrupted with this education we've had from our workplaces that I've got to get ahead. I've got to beat next man. And that education is corrupting us. The idea that somehow we're competing with the guy next to us. And it's coming to the Guru Kar now. Rather than having each other's backs, we're competing with each other. Where's that Ardaas gone? Where's that soch that, listen, if my boy's down, I'm down? It's not there. We say the words, are you all right? But we're not living that soch, be, are you okay? Because if you're not okay, I'm not okay. And let's be, you'll be a witness to your own heart as to how much you really live that sentiment. And perhaps more selfishly, you can reflect equally. It's probably not a great way of doing it, but it'll be your own testament. How much you think other people have that sentiment towards you. And that's victim mentality. So I don't want to dwell on that too much. My thought is this. My view is this. Become what you want to receive. I had a really beautiful thing. I'm a father of 2, right? And I had something so beautiful. It said, be to your child the person that you needed when you was a child. I thought that was so massive, man. Rather than blaming your shortcomings and why you're so bent upon being traumatized and twisted and why you are so a certain way towards others because of what happened to you, Be the person that you needed at that time going forward. Too many people justify their broken behavior based on what they've received. And I just think that's such a victim mentality. That's not the mentality of the Khalsa. The Khalsa mentality is to give kirpa, right? And rakhya mera pai, to give homage, protection and shelter to those that need it. And if you didn't have that, then you definitely know what it means to need it. It's actually a blessing. Quick departation. There's a great speaker. I listen to him sometimes. His name's Tony Robbins. He's like an American entrepreneur. And he's done some really interesting social advances with psychology and stuff like that. His hourly rate is about $1 million an hour. Like, people of CEO companies, they sit with him for an hour. He tells them how to help their companies. He's pretty big in the West, in the States, right? And he talks about how this whole way of life that he's got is because when he was younger, he was massively abused by his mother. His mother was so scared, single mother, father had walked out on him, that he says that she would beat me and she would put soap in my mouth and she'd physically abuse me because she was so scared of losing me. She thought the only way I could keep him, where my husband had walked away on me, is to basically beat him into submission. And many of you in some part might relate to that by your own childhood. The point here is this. What Tony Robbins would say is that I'm really grateful for that because I knew what it meant to be utterly alone and scared. And it gave me the impetus, the drive to want to help people. And I owe my complete success and in terms of like self-improvement and sort of life coaching and all of the things that he does in the West. He goes, I owe all of that because of what I endured. Had I not endured any of that, I wouldn't be the man that I am, driven to take away people's fears and dark days. I thought, what a wonderful way to weaponize that which he was, right? And so Bhai Taru Singh Ji gives us such a sikya. Who are you going to be going forward, man? Amandeep Singh, when you see someone, are you competing with that person? When he's down, is that your opportunity to move past him? Or do you stop with him and go, listen, if you're not all right, and I'm sorry to say this, and I'm not saying any labels, so don't look to who I'm talking about, because that's pointless, it's going beyond the sikya. Look to your own example, who can you be? How many times do we go into the langar hall, we see someone sitting on their own? Any opportunity to go up to that person and go, listen, I noticed you around a few times, you're new to the area. I want you to know I'm with you. What would we lose? What's the chance of you getting blanked out? Even if you do get blanked out, what happens? It's minor. It's so minor, but the opportunity that you might make that person realize that they've got you, that is priceless, man. To have the opportunity to stand, and then you ask yourself the question, when was the last time we stood? It's a deep, painful, honest truth. When was the last time we stood? I'll tell you one thing, some of the greatest friendships I have in my life, and I'm very grateful to have a few very, very grateful friendships that I have. Those relationships are based on sacrifice, where we've had to stand. Where nobody was forced to, but they chose to stand, either with me against a common situation, or I had the chance to stand. And unbeknownst to me, I thought I was standing for that person, but in reality, with years to look back on, all it meant was that a friendship was formed that is stronger than blood. We're all looking for deep intimacy in our brotherhood. Who stood? This is not a challenge to you. It's perhaps more a diagnosis as to why we haven't got that depth of friendship and understanding. Our fathers came to this country and they stood. They didn't have a choice. Their windows were being smashed. They were staying in each other's front rooms. As they were getting called names by the National Front out the windows, they were being called across the road. We can still stand. We can stand in different ways, but are we choosing to? We haven't got the depth of understanding of a relationship. We have to ask ourselves, have we made that ardaas? Maharaj, give me the opportunity to serve, man. Give me someone who's in dukh that I can stand. Wouldn't that be a wonderful ardaas? What are we asking for, Amandeep Singh? It seems pretty trivial now, the things that we're asking for, right? We ask for things that are going to clear our path of obstacles. In a roundabout way, what I'm saying is, Yo, Maharaj, place other people's obstacles in my path. I can solve them for them, and we can move forward together. Now the words, Ketia duk pug sadamar ebi dat teri datar, they mean something else, innit? Maharaj is saying that all the dukh of this world, ebi dataya, the gifts. Why? Because through solving those problems together and standing, you get to have that depth of understanding and love. They say that bliss is just on the other side of fear. If you run away from someone's fear because it's not your own and your business, you'll never get to experience the bliss of solving that guy's problem with them. There are people, if you're lucky enough, that are suffering. And if you stood for the Singhs, I think that's such a wicked teaching. Are we back on? Sorry, I don't know what happened, but okay. So Bhai Taru Singh Ji now, he's been arrested. Listen to this. Bhai Taru Singh Ji now has been arrested. He's gone to his mother. His mother says, give me 1 minute with him before you take him away. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is speaking to his mother. She says, Taru Singh, you look so handsome. You look just like your father did 25 years ago when he left my company to go and become Shaheed with Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Now you look just as handsome as he did, as you're going to go now. I can hear that you've become Shaheed, but I cannot hear that even one case of your body that is being allowed to be cut from you, that any biadabi is done to your case. Bhai Taru Singh Ji, they say, Mother, your Ardaas is in my mind. Bhai Taru Singh Ji, they take one last glance back to their sister, their mother, those that have come together to stand for Bhai Taru Singh Ji, because Bhai Taru Singh Ji has got a number willing to stand for him because he has dedicated his life to stand for others. He looks back and he's now being tied up and shackled and he's being taken away. Bhai Taru Singh Ji has a regret in their mind. And you're probably thinking, yeah, I get that. You've probably got a guess in your mind what his regret is. Somebody give me a guess what Bhai Taru Singh Ji in their mind, what their ardaas in this moment is, what their regret is. Somebody give me a suggestion. They're being taken away for public execution for going against the government. What do you think their ardaas is right now? Somebody give me a guess. Hanji, what do you think? Just have a guess. What do you think's in their mind? They've got one regret in their mind. Sikhi kesh aswasana. We'll see that in action in a minute. You know what Bhai Taru Singh Ji was in their mind? They're not thinking about they're going to die, they're not going to see that they're going to leave this world, they're going to become Shaheed, what's going to befall them. Bhai Taru Singh Ji, you know what's in their mind? They say, if I had known that I was going to be arrested and taken today, if I had known this, that when I was doing Seva of the Singhs, I would have looked at them so more intently. I would have kept a picture in my mind of Bhai Taru Singh Ji. My Jetadar, who's in the jungles, who hasn't eaten, if I had known today was the last time I was going to see him, I would have looked to him more deeply, that I would have enshrined him in my heart. Oh man, I'm not going to get to see the Singhs again. His asara, his icha, his desire is to have the darshan of Bhai Taru Singh Ji. Who was Bhai Taru Singh Ji? Bhai Taru Singh Ji, why is he in the jungles? Bhai Taru Singh Ji and Bhai Sukha Singh, in times just before, had come to learn that Masarangar had taken over the Darbar Sahib. They defiled and they were defecating the Darbar Sahib. They were having horses defecate upon the Sarovar of Darbar Sahib. The Mughals were trying to destroy the root of Sikhi. So Bhai Taru Singh Ji and Bhai Sukha Singh went to Darbar Sahib in disguise. They took out the talwara and they chopped off the head of Masarangar. So now Bhai Taru Singh Ji, we know who Bhai Taru Singh Ji in this itihas. Bhai Taru Singh Ji and Bhai Sukha Singh, they've done this seva. Now Bhai Taru Singh Ji is being taken away. In his mind, his ardaas is, I wish I had the darshan of the Guru. Bhai Taru Singh Ji gets taken to the court of Zakaria Khan. Zakaria Khan orders the bones of Bhai Taru Singh Ji to be smashed with iron rods. He's beaten to the ground and kept on the ground. Become a Muslim, Zakaria Khan says. Become a Muslim or you are going to die. You know what Bhai Taru Singh Ji says? when you arm yourself with knowledge, it's there to be used. Bhai Taru Singh says, you mean to tell me that if I become a Muslim, I won't die? Zakaria Khan is enraged that even now, with all of his weapons, he hasn't got anything sharp enough to deal with the wit of Bhai Taru Singh Ji. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is challenging the Mughal Darbar. They say to Bhai Taru Singh Ji, we're going to take your Sikhi from you. Bhai Taru Singh Ji says, do as you will, but I'm never going to give up my Sikhi. They say, we're going to cut your kesh. Bhai Taru Singh Ji says, there's no chance that even one of my kesh is going to come off from my body. They say, you got so much akkar, because I'm going to beat you with my shoes. Bhai Taru Singh Ji leans into that, and they say, before the end, it's my shoes that are going to be beaten upon your head. Zakaria Khan is ignorant to what he is witnessing. He's witnessing the form of a Gurmukh. He's blessed to be having a chance to have darshan of a Gurmukh, but all he is doing is poisoning himself. Not blessed in that sense, but if he had the mindset, he would have been blessed. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is ordered to have his kesh cut. He's taken the beatings, and now Ratan Singh Pangu writes that the cobblers, that the barbarians that are being given this instruction to torture, they bring out these sharp blades. At this point, Bhai Taru Singh Ji, they turn to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj in their mind. They say, Yo Maharaj, you give the instruction, be udam kare, palke parpati, isnan kare, amritsar nave. You say, make effort to wake and do the deed. I've made my efforts, Maharaj, and I've exhausted them. Now, Maharaj, it's on you. Maharaj, it's on you. Udam kare palke parpati. You're telling me to make that effort to wake in the morning and to vibrate upon your name. I've done the deed. They're bringing blades to my kesh. Maharaj, now I do Ardaas. I make my supplication to you. Bhai Taru Singh Ji, they're making this Ardaas, and it's written in our itihas that when those blades are taken to the kesh of Bhai Taru Singh Ji, not one of Bhai Taru Singh Ji's kesh was cut. In fact, the blades would blunt upon the kesh of Bhai Taru Singh Ji as the kesh would turn to like steel. Satsanga Ji, something very beautiful happened just before this. Bhai Taru Singh Ji, they've been put in a cell after they've had their bones broken, just before the blades are being taken to the case of Bhai Taru Singh Ji. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is now in a cell, and they hear a familiar voice. Bole sone hala jagare are being screamed down the hallways of these jail cells, corridors. And it's a familiar voice. They go, it can't be whose voice it could be. It can't be whose voice it could be. Bhai Mehtab Singh Ji has learnt in the jungles that their beloved Gurpai, Bhai Taru Singh Ji, has become arrested, has been arrested for serving the Singhs. They go, we have been charged with the mandate to destroy the Mughals who are inflicting tyranny. We're the ones that have drawn blood, and Bhai Taru Singh has been arrested? No, it can't be. Bhai Mehtab Singh Ji has come out from the jungles with a lathi. They've left all their shastra behind, for their intention is not to become shaheed outside those jungles, but to become arrested. And then with a lathi, they smash many bones. And they call arrest. They welcome arrest. They get arrested, and they've been taken now to the cells. And Bhai Taru Singh Ji can hear a familiar voice shouting Jagare as he's being brought down to the cells. Bhai Mehtab Singh Ji, the door opens to the cell, and Bhai Mehtab Singh Ji is brought into the cells and thrown on the floor. Bhai Taru Singh just looking. They go, how are you here? They go, what was your Ardaas, Taru Singh? What was your Ardaas as you was being taken away from your village? I'm here to fulfill your Ardaas. Guru Govinda Kirpa Kari Rakhya Mera Pai. Bhai Mehtab Singh Ji, when you get to that avastha, where you can read the minds of the good Sikhs, Manne Sagal Pavan Ki Sud, when you get to that Chotha Pad, when you get to that Turiya avastha, Bhai Mehtab Singh Ji, they would concern themselves only with the Ichha of their Gurpai. Amandeep Singh, beyond your own selfish things that you're consumed with, how much are you consumed with the blessings, the Ardasa of your brothers? I invite you to ask the same question. Only because if we ain't going to live for the Ardasa of our brothers, truly, if we're not here to look out shoulder to shoulder with our sisters, truly, then what are we here for? These kids have got a saying, we could learn from it, yeah? This is new saying that's ripped, like, the kids say, we ain't playing. You heard this before? These kids in their little hood-rich outfits, yeah? Going, we ain't playing. I don't think we should be playing. We should be testing ourselves. We should be thinking about actioning this Soch and bringing it about. And not looking for it from others, but being responsible for how we think about others. There are little sisters that live in East London who are learning from the Katha in East London. And when my Singani got really ill 5 months ago, she got diagnosed with cancer. They started looking out for my Singani. Because the sort is that we're a family, right? And when the opportunity arises, you can step away from it or you can recognize it as your own. And I truly believe that that's the way that we should be living our life. And if we're not living our life, we're just turning up. We're just dressed in costume. And I don't think that's the purpose. I'm not here to dress up. I don't think that's the purpose of what we're doing here. And so this is a wake-up call. And Jagraj would give me many wake-up calls. When I'd hear him speak, I'd be like, yo, I'm just existing. I'm just doing my Nitnem. I'm just going to the Guru card, but I'm not living that. I'm not saying I'm the perfect Guru Sikh now. I'm far from it. I'm beneath your feet. Trust me. If you know where I've come from, you'd know that to be true, right? But I can at least say I know what I should be doing. And the purpose of this vichar isn't to command anybody. I've not got no right to do that. I'm your little brother to many of you. I'm just opening you up to the possibility. What if, before those problems took our brothers, we took them instead? And said, I got you. What kind of a responsibility would that person then have towards us and our families? That when the soldiers came to Bulha Bend, all the villages would be outside. And I think Jagraj Singh Ji had that, right? They would live for the Khalsa Panth. They dedicated it. Oxford graduate, 6-figure salary, no thanks. They would live for the Khalsa Panth. And when they would come here to do discourse after having been diagnosed, you couldn't get a seat in the Darbar. Not even the Jora card, all the way outside around the Nishan Sahib, all the way, the whole Guru card. Nobody has brought to the fore the Sangat with their Ardaas, with their well wishes. Guru Govind Kripa Kari. Why? Because he would live for the Panth. Sadh Sangat Ji, let's have a little think. What are we going to bring to tomorrow? What are we going to think? What service are we going to bring to tomorrow for those that are around us to improve the quality of their life? Isn't it exciting that in so doing that, we might just bring robust nature to the Khalsa Panth? Bhai Taru Singh Ji has been told, we're going to cut your kesh. They do Ardaas to Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. The blades blunt upon the kesh of Bhai Taru Singh Ji. Zakaria Khan is blind with ignorance. Sadh Sangat Ji, we can easily look at Zakaria Khan and call him a plonker. How many of us are blind to the miracles of the Guru before us? Zakaria Khan says, we're not going to cut his kesh. His kesh won't come from his head. Let's take his scalp. Let's take his khopri. Let's take his scalp from his head. The cobbler is brought forward with a chisel and a hammer. And the chisel is placed upon the forehead of Bhai Taru Singh Ji, and his bones are crunched into the chisel is smashed into the bones of his crown of his skull. And then to the left and the right, and then finally from the rear, the chisel is smashed into the kesh and through the bones of the scalp. And eventually the whole khopri of Bhai Taru Singh Ji comes off, and a fountain of blood, dark blood, comes down the face of Bhai Taru Singh Ji, filling their dari. You can see the blood, but you can hear no screams from Bhai Taru Singh Ji's lips, because all you can hear from Bhai Taru Singh Ji vibrating is the Japji Sahib of Sikh Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Akho Satanam Sri. Bhai Taru Singh Ji is vibrating upon the Japji Sahib, the part. Their khopri has been removed from their body, but even now they are jinda. They are alive, they are well. They're taken back to their cell, and they remain in their cell, alive, vibrating upon the Japji Sahib. Zakaria Khan immediately has a knot tied into their stomach. They become immediately so unwell, they can't pass any urine from their body. They're in searing pain. They don't know what it is. They go to their advisors, 2 advisors that are that work in the government, who they feel might have some connection to Bhai Taru Singh Ji. Their names is Bhai Sabeg Singh, Bhai Sabag Singh. They become shaheed in their own right later. They go, we don't know why, but my stomach is in a knot. I can't pass any urine. I'm in so much pain. They go, you're a plonker. Look what you've done to this great Gurmukh. What do you think is going to come back at you? Because you need to get forgiveness. You need to make recompense with Bhai Taru Singh Ji if you're going to have any relief. Zakaria Khan writes a letter of apology to the Khalsa Panth. Nawab Kapoor Singh sits in leadership there. They go to Nawab Kapoor Singh. They go, look, we need your help for our emperor. The soldiers come. They say, only the dust of the feet of Bhai Taru Singh Ji will bring you any relief. Go and get the shoes of Bhai Taru Singh Ji and have them beat them upon your body and you'll get the relief you're looking for. Nanak das mukte jo bole, iha, uha. Such a hove. Bhai Taru Singh Ji said, you think you're going to take the case from my head? You're going to beat me with your shoes? Not one of my case will be cut from my body. And it will be my shoes that get beaten upon your head before the end. The case of Bhai Taru Singh remaining intact upon their khopari. The Japji Sahib is vibrating from the body of Bhai Taru Singh Ji as they remain in Chardi Kala within their cell. The body of Zakaria Khan is consumed with pain and he's being beaten with the shoes, the dust of the feet of the Gurmukh, Bhai Taru Singh Ji. He's being beaten. Every time he gets beaten, the pain is getting more and more eased. The pain is eased more from their body. Bhai Taru Singh Ji's shoes are beaten upon the body of Zakaria Khan until he passes away. When Zakaria Khan is defeated, the Singhs bring news to Bhai Taru Singh Ji. Bhai Taru Singh Ji says, go bring me jal from Darbar Sahib. I want to bring prasad, kara prasadi deg. They undertake ishnan. They do distribution of deg. They distribute sweets in celebration for their victory over this oppressive regime. And they undertake Anand Sahib part after 22 days of having their khopari removed from their body. Khopari and lahaiya. And after 22 days, Bhai Taru Singh Ji, having undertaken ishnan from the jal from Darbar Sahib, after distributing sweets and celebrations, they leave their body and they become shaheed. Guru Pyari Sadh Sangat Ji, make no mistake about it. Our Panch Kakar are not equal. Our Panch Kakar, we get taught 5Ks, right? Our Panch Kakar are not equal. In Dasambani it is written that the other 4 Kakar are not equal to the Shiromani Kakar. The Shiromani Kakar is that one which is higher than the other 4, which is the gift of our uncut case. This is the gift that we've received in Sikhya from Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. This is the gift we've received in education from Bhai Taru Singh Ji. So, if we have our case, let's comb our case twice a day. This isn't just a trophy to sit on a cabinet to get dusty. This is our living Shiromani Kakar. Let's wake in the morning and comb our case and be like, yo Maharaj, you're giving me case, man. I'm so blessed. You know what? I kept my case many years ago. I come from a family of pub owners. I'm very open about sharing that because I think that it's important to recognize that you can come into Sikhi from any place. And some of us have really made that journey, and I really commend you for your own efforts, obviously by the Guru's blessings. And when I came into Sikhi, there was a transitional period where I didn't have any case, and I felt very much on my own because I'd left behind everything that was familiar. I left behind pubs and clubs and what have you, and I didn't have any case. But I remember sitting in the student union, and I was just playing with my daddy one day, and I realized, yo, I'm never going to be on my own ever again. It's such a peculiar feeling to know that the Guru is always with you. It's such a wicked thing. And I'm talking to those that are already converted. They say preaching to the converted is a futile act. You might have ghis. You might not be alive to the fact that you've got ghis. And the gift of recognizing what you have is even more valuable than having it. The gift of recognizing that you have this gift, in my opinion, is even more valuable than having it. Because then you can live in Shukrana. Be, yo, Maharaj, you gave me this gift. I got a crown on my head. It's better than any short back and sides. And I just think when we hear Bhai Taru Singh's itihas, we know it to be true. They would give their jivan, they would give their life, but they would not give that Sikhi, right? So we've now heard the itihas of Bhai Taru Singh. Just finally, Sadh Sangat Ji, Singh Sahib, just 1 second, I want you to hear this one thing, bruv, yeah? When Bhai Taru Singh Ji leave their physical body, they go to Sachkhand. It's written in our history that when they go to Sachkhand, they go to that place where Guru Gobind Singh Ji is. And Bhai Mani Singh Ji is there too, to the right of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. It's written by poets at the time when they record our history. And Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj is sitting on the takht. And Bhai Mani Singh Ji is to the right of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. And they get up. That's the coveted place, to sit to the right of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Bhai Mani Singh Ji, they stand up. Remember I said we go full circle back to how we started this itihas. Bhai Mani Singh Ji stands up. They say, Taru Singh, you can come and sit to the right of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Bhai Taru Singh Ji says, Nay Maharaj, your itihas is what inspired me. You're the one that brought me here, having my kesh combed by my mother all those years ago. I would learn what it means to be a Gursikh. They say, Bhai Mehtab Singh, my Jethadar, he's in the cells. He'll be joining us very shortly. Let him take this place. And at that time, Bhai Mehtab Singh Ji, they become shaheed. They got spun on a wheel and they get crushed to death. Again, without any cries from their lips. And then they join. And they're in that Anand. And if you have the Sharda, they're in Anand still. And just speaking to them brings Anand to us now. Thank you, Singh Sahib. So Bhai Taru Singh Ji, that Sakhi teaches us that what we teach our children at 5 can be what takes them from this world at 25 to live forever. But who are we learning from and who are we sharing with? Satsangat Ji, we have a great obligation not to waste this life. We have an even greater gift to learn that we can make our children, our nephews and nieces, into great surme of compassion and kindness and strength and courage. And all these things can run to our children and our nephews and nieces and our cousins if we take itihas and we go home. So my benti Satsangat Ji is this. You've all heard the name Taru Singh before, but perhaps not quite in the way we've heard it today. My benti is this. When you go home tonight, share this itihas with someone. You haven't got to be a Gathavajik to speak of your Guru. You don't need a qualification to speak to your family. Share this itihas and you will double it down within your own being. But you don't know what 5-year-old needs to hear this right now who's thinking about cutting their kesh. What 5-year-old is thinking about keeping their kesh. Let's keep it positive. What 10-year-old will look to you and say, you know what, you told me that and it planted a seed 5 years ago. Now, ever since that day, I want to keep my kesh. So Sadh Sangat Ji, we have gone on a journey today. You're the Sangat of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. I ask for your forgiveness for any mistakes that I have made. I ask for your blessings and thank you for being patient and learning and listening with me. For any mistakes that I've made, I ask for your forgiveness. Be lekhe kathena shutiya khin khin pulan hara baksale nanaka pari utara. Just before I say Fateh, humble benti Sadh Sangat Ji, got Gatha this Thursday in East London. It'd be wonderful to see you guys come and cross the river, come and see you guys. And it's like you don't ever reciprocate, don't come and see us. I promise you, we have a better part of town over here. Come and give us your blessings. I'd love to see you. We have warm Sangat and it'd be wonderful to see you once a month. It's the first Thursday, soon to become weekly. So very soon we're going to be weekly Gatha in East London. Straight off the Elizabeth line, the Lizzie line at Goodmays. So Gatha's this Thursday, 7 to 8 p.m. And then we've got chips and beans and a Q&A after that as well. So hopefully give us your blessings. Be WhyGuru Ji Ka Khalsa, WhyGuru Ji Ki Fateh.